Oh, yeah, we're live. We're getting a little ahead of the president here because he's about to go live. And as soon as he goes live, we'll cut to the stream. Holy moly, I got a double sound coming in. Oh, whoa. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Welcome to Doug and Exile Live. This is where I see how many of you really care about a live show because I'm seriously considering doing like a daily live show where we can be together. So, shout out to chat. Thank you all for showing up. Some of you have already been giving us a thumbs up, which really helps push this show out to everyone else. They'll see that thumbnail of huge announcement live. I had misspelled the thumbnail and you guys corrected it, and you were correct once again. This will be the first of 3 videos that I do today, but this one is going to be live. So right now, if you're watching this, unless you're watching the replay, then this is live. And once Trump starts speaking, I'll cut to the feed. So right now, he's not speaking. He's running a little late. And I believe he does that on purpose so that more of us can get into the chat and more people talk about it and more people wait. He knows the fashionable amount of time to delay before he starts speaking. So we'll get to it as soon as he starts. And of course, you guys can always tell me when he starts too, because you guys follow the news also. Look, I got these glasses are so bad. I'm gonna have to put on my JFKs here. In the news, I'm gonna do my, just so you guys have an inside scoop for watching me live. I'll give you a little bit of a preview of one video I'm going to do today, which is going to be the first time that I ever criticize Pam Bondi. How about that? Who's looking for that? And I'm watching the chat down there too. Hey, Doug, how's it going? You guys say. There's about 300 watching live. Thank you for watching live. I am going to bring you the news. We're going to watch Trump. I will do limited comments because I don't want to interrupt him, but where there's a pause or there's a plot, I can always come back in. But he's running a little bit late. Sometimes he's as long as an hour late. So I'm gonna have to sit here and filibuster. Speaking of ending the filibuster, I'm gonna have to sit here and filibuster for like an hour. How about that? Oh man, these glasses are dirty. So I got up this morning and Pam Bondi, someone who I respect a lot, had a pretty major announcement about her. It does have to do with the election the other night, which, you know, everyone's doing the blame game on why was it such a blowout for the Republicans? And in the end, you know, if you're a never Trumper, let's say that you're in the Beltway Republican Party, the ones that are just kind of looking at the clock going, I can't wait for Trump to be out of this office so we can go back to normal. And they think there's a normal coming back. Normal ain't ever coming back. Paul Ryan is never coming back. Even the Mike Johnson of 2 years ago, that GOP is never coming back. John Thune, that style is not coming back. So all the people that just kind of cross their arms, John Podhoretz at Commentary Magazine, your Republican Party is never coming back. It's gone. It will never win again. The only winning way that the Republican Party goes forward is through MAGA. So what happened? Well, only Trump was able to reach Democrats and minorities, is what we found out in 2024. That was 1 year ago. Election day. Trump celebrated that a year ago when we changed the world. You and I changed the world with our vote. Only Trump could go into blue areas like New Jersey and get everyone united and win. Come to find out, when milquetoast Republicans go try to do the same thing, they go, oh, I'll do what he did in a blue state. They get massacred because they're not, the Republican Party is not Trump. Trump brings a level of strength, and that's going to be who ends up winning if we win the Senate, which all of the betting is against it, but never bet against Trump. If Trump comes out and muscularly defends and tours with senators, and Mike Johnson said something brilliant yesterday. He said Trump's name is on the ballot in 2026. Trump's name is on the ballot in 2026 for the Senate. Why? Because if they don't win, he's getting impeached and probably going to jail. So Trump has a very special incentive to make sure Republicans hold the majority in 2026. I believe he's going to be doing some heavy campaigning with certain Republican individuals to help drag them over the finish line once again. Because the Republican Party, I'm hoping by then, we see Mike Johnson learning to make a fist, but he hasn't learned enough to overturn the filibuster. Neither has John Thune. And we don't know who's against overturning the filibuster. And John Thune won't even hold a vote saying it's not close enough. What do you guys think? I want to see a vote of who's for overturning the filibuster and helping the Trump agenda, and who's against it and destroying the Trump agenda. That's what I want to do. We saw Tuberville. We saw Josh Hawley. I'm going to show a clip of him. Josh Hawley said it's time to end the filibuster. It is time. So I think it's a brand new idea for Trump to turn over the filibuster. So it's going to take a little while for the Senate to catch up. It's going to take a little while for our politicians to feel the water and see if it's okay. And it really could gain. So that could be one of the announcements that I'm predicting. Again, when Trump goes live, we will go live. I'm waiting for Trump to go live. And he's delayed. He's fashionably late. But what do you guys think? Let me get my glasses on so I can read the chat here. What do you guys think of these? How about these? Oh, it's still kind of foggy, still kind of dirty glasses. These are my classic, I call them the JFK because the movie JFK, where Kevin Costner is investigating the second shooter of JFK, he wears these. And the filibuster, you're saying, there you go. This is a masquerade. Have a drink in the daytime. You guys are funny. Yeah, and the filibuster along with the Fed. Well, the filibuster is a bigger threat than the Fed right now. As bad as the Fed is, the filibuster is worse. Trump says that tariffs are bigger than the filibuster too, but what he's realizing is he's going to get in trouble if he does not end the filibuster. Here's Maureen, Ben, and Doug. Can you tell us about the RNC, the Republican National Convention? Are they functioning well and getting ready for 2026? I don't think they're functioning well. And I think that's part of the problem is the Republican, when you have the presidency and the Senate, even by a narrow margin, you're not in a panic. And that's what happened with the last election where Mamdani won. This is true of all the times that the other party is on the outs. The other party that is on the outs is always angrier and more mobilized. So they have their get out the vote operation going because all they can win are these little tiny scraps in New Jersey, in New York, in Virginia. And so on one hand, I think the election's a nothing burger because these were heavy Democrat areas. I don't know if any Republican could have won. Ron DeSantis said that even if Rudy Giuliani was running in New York for mayor, even he wouldn't have won in this political climate because the Democrats are going so communist and socialist. We look at the voter turnout, and lo and behold, all of the votes that went for Democrats, it was like 80% women. These are young women that the Republican Party cannot get. Part of it is because these young women are raised in public schools, going to university, and are just drenched in 30 and 40 years of feminism. It's anti-man, anti-masculinity, anti-dad. These women don't get, okay, here's Trump at the White House. Let me see if this is what we're looking for. Let me check. Here we go.
Well, this is very exciting, because again, we're bringing drug prices down to levels that will be available as possible.
Ooh, that sounds really bad.
Tremendous cuts, 200%, 300%, 500%, 700%, a little bit more than that. So today I'm thrilled to announce
Look
that
for a feed with better sound while we
two
listen.
world's largest pharmaceutical manufacturers, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, have agreed to offer their most popular GLP-1 weight loss drug. I call it the fat drug, remember? At drastic discounts, very
There we go.
effective drugs. And so far, I've never heard anything bad about them. I only hear good about them. It's pretty. Is there anything bad about them, Bob? Yeah,
This is about the fat medication that he's going to make cheaper. That's one of the announcements.
maybe it'll come out, which will notify you immediately. But so far, I haven't heard that, including the drugs known as Zepbound and Wegovy, often called Ozempic. This is a triumph for American patients that will save lives and improve the health of millions and millions of Americans. Amazing thing. They are amazing. I want to thank Eli Lilly CEO David Ricks, a friend of mine. We worked long and hard. He and I got this whole thing started in a way. And Novo Nordisk CEO Mike Dustar for joining us today. Great, talented people. They make a lot of money. I looked at the money, but they're entitled to the money because the companies are doing very well. Along with Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary Howard Lutnick. Do you take any of this stuff, Howard?
Not yet.
Okay, good. CMS Administrator Mehmet Oz, he doesn't take it. Food and Drug
He's saying who takes the fat drug and who doesn't. He's naming all the skinny people and go, they don't take it.
And Director of Medicare, Chris Klump. And we have Steve, where's Steve? Is he here? Head of Public Relations for the White House. He's taking it.
Never take
The United
Ozempic, guys.
States is
Don't
just
do this.
4% of the world's
I've been low carb. Just cut out carbs. I've lost 25 pounds in 2 months.
Pharmaceutical companies make 75% of their profits from the American customer. I would say that's not so good. Right? It's not exactly great. To address this chronic unfairness, I signed an executive order earlier this year instructing my administration to do everything in our power to implement most favored nations drug pricing, something that has been helped greatly by tariffs, because when nations refuse to do it, we should have put this in the case yesterday. I just say, well, if you're not going to do it, we're going to charge you a like amount of tariffs. And they immediately say, we'll do it, which means that Americans should pay no more than the lowest price offered anywhere in the world. So that you've heard for years the disparity where you'll pay $150 for a pill in New York and you'll pay $10 for a pill in London. Now you're going to pay $20 both.
Okay, this is not the main announcement, guys. This is one announcement. They're gonna lower the prices on Ozempic and on anti-fat drugs, which, you know, America has an obesity problem. We have too many available calories and we live sedentary lifestyles and we need a break on it. This is for emergencies only. If you're morbidly obese or you have heart problems, you're gonna have to take these fat drugs to get skinnier. I don't recommend them at all. I recommend exercise and lowering caloric intake. But he's just talking about getting them cheaper. There are a lot of populations, especially among the poor, where they tend to eat bad. And obesity is a problem, and it can be a lifesaver because that's our #1 killer right now is diabetes and those kinds of heart disease and all that.
Millions of Americans struggling with obesity live better, longer lives, everything else. These are the two companies that really broke ground. Until now, neither of these two popular drugs have been covered by Medicare for weight loss, and they've only rarely been covered by Medicaid. They've often cost consumers more than $1,000 per month, and some a lot more than that. Americans have been spending as much as 520% more for.
I'm also not for all these price controls from a government top down. Okay. I don't like when the government comes in and says, make drugs cheaper. I like making it easier for competitors to come in and compete and naturally drive the wages down. Remember, Mom Donnie's saying he's going to go to businesses in New York and force them all to lower prices of groceries. And now we have the government going to lower the prices on medicine, life-saving medicine. And as RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz have said, they want to fight obesity by making you healthier. Taking Ozempic is not, taking a pill is not making you healthier. That's my opinion. Could be unpopular. Love to hear from you guys in the chat. Keep it up. Give me some thumbs up, guys. We've got 1,200 people watching, and that'll help push this channel out. I want to hear from you in the chat.
I don't think so. And reduce the monthly cost of Zepbound from $1,080 to $346. In addition, they're both committing that future GLP-1 weight loss drugs taken orally, which are currently under development, will be sold at no more than $149 per month. It's a massive, think of that. You go from $1,300 to $149 a month. We anticipate these new versions will be coming out in a very short period of time.
Good.
All of these drugs will be available directly to the consumer at TrumpRx.gov. Trump, they want to use my name. Trump, it better be good. TrumpRx.gov, and I think it's turning out to be pretty amazing, right?
I think the bottle should be gold leaf, covered in gold leaf.
Medicare and Medicaid will finally cover the cost of these weight loss drugs for millions of patients suffering from obesity. Co-pays for Medicare patients will be as low as $50. This is tremendous savings. I mean, now you're talking about from $1,350 to $50. This is tremendous news for the American seniors. And you all remember when I had 1/8% for the year. I cut it 1/8, and I was so thrilled. But now we're cutting it 1,000%, 1,200%. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Nobody else could have done it, but I say that modestly. In addition, you think it was easy dealing with these people? It wasn't. You think it was easy saying your drug, Mr. Eli Lilly, that we're selling for $1,300 is going to be sold for $250. You know, the amazing thing, the stocks all went up. I mean, these guys they're fantastic.
Stock's still going up.
It's going to equalize the world. The world's a bigger place, and it's going to equalize. I was a little surprised to see that, but I'm happy about it. In addition, Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk have agreed to provide all of their other medications to Medicaid at most favored nations prices. Most favored nations, meaning that you will pay the lowest price anywhere in the world. That's what you're going to pay. Whereas before they paid low prices and we paid, thousands of percentile ahead more. And to sell these drugs to all consumers at deeply discounted prices via TrumpRx.com. When is TrumpRx.com opening?
The site is open. It will launch in terms of giving people prices before the end of the year.
Okay. Got to make sure it's successful. It's got my name on it. I don't want to be like so many others. I don't want to be like the train they're building in California, okay, which has about a 15,000% cost overrun. Or the beautiful Obama building that he's building in Chicago for the museum, which is now shuttered up and dead. They got it up, and they couldn't finish. It's about, would you say, 5 years behind schedule? And about 2,000% over budget. Then he tells us how to run Medicaid. Many of the most widely used drugs will be available for 60% off, or even more than that. In addition, all new medications introduced by Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to the American market will be sold at the heavily reduced most favored nations price. Most favored nations price, that's the best. Because they have been thousands of percent.
He's repeating himself. And I agree with you about the drug price thing.
Furthermore, Eli Lilly is investing
that whatever the money is, whatever it costs for a drug, America should get the best price on it.
Peanuts in the United States to reshore, do a big domestic manufacturing job in the facilities. They're going to spend, so Eli Lilly spent $27 billion. Novo is spending 10 billion in the United States. So they're building new plant and equipment. That's part of what will be 20 or 21 trillion dollars this year.
Now,
There's
John,
never been
that
anything
night.
like it. I know nobody talks about it, but there's never been anything like, I would say, you would say that there's never been anything like this ever in, whether it's China or Europe, or you could take all of Europe, there's never been anything like this. So we're already past 17 trillion. We're going to be, I think by the time the year closes out, we'll have investments of over $21 trillion based on the way we're going. And by the way, tariffs are very important. Without tariffs, perhaps it could be a little bit different, to put it mildly. Tariffs are so important. The decision in the Supreme Court would be devastating to our country if we got a negative, devastating if we got a negative decision. But this is a great day for American health and healthcare and for all of American patients. These are things that are miracles to have this happen. And they're, you know, we're bringing all our medicines, again, because of tariffs, we're bringing all our medicines. If you remember where during COVID, we made almost no medicine here. We had to go to China, we had to go to Ireland, we had to go to other places, UK, to get our medicine. We didn't make it here. Now we're making it, we'll soon be making it all here, again, because of tariffs. And my election, but because of tariffs much more. For years, politicians have talked about making healthcare affordable, but my administration is actually doing it. Americans deserve the best healthcare in the world, and we're now getting the best healthcare at the lowest price. So I'd like to ask somebody who's doing a fantastic job, Secretary Kennedy, to say a few words, followed by Dr. Oz, Dr. Klump, and then Eli Lilly, CEO David Ricks, and Novo Nordisk CEO Mike Dustar. These are incredible stars in that business. Like Dustar is a big star. And I can tell you that David Ricks is one of the hottest people in the world in business, but the business that he's in is pharmaceutical. And the job he's done with Eli Lilly is incredible. Both of these gentlemen, they really are stars in the truest sense. And it's an honor to have you in the White House. And go to it, Bobby.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to start by thanking you, Mr. President, for declaring war on chronic disease in this country. This is something no American president has ever done. If we want to solve the chronic disease crisis, we have to tackle obesity. Obesity is the #1 driver of chronic disease. 50% of our adult population are obese or overweight, and it drives about 50% of healthcare costs in this country. Diabetes, cardiac diseases, we are going to see a decline because of this historic agreement. We're going to see a decline in costs, but also, more importantly, in the afflictions themselves. President Trump is the friend of the forgotten American. Obesity is a disease of poverty, overwhelmingly. And these drugs have only been available for people who have wealth. At one point, the majority of prescriptions, the highest concentration of prescriptions in this country, was the Upper West Side of Manhattan.
Yep.
And what about the people who live in rural areas, who live in food deserts? What about the people in urban areas who live in food deserts and are suffering from obesity and are locked into that system where they can only get ultra-processed foods, which are aggravating the problem? This will be a lifesaver to them. It's not a panacea. It's not a silver bullet. President Trump has also instructed us to address and end the root causes of chronic disease, and we're doing that. We're about to release dietary guidelines that are going to change the food culture in this country. They're going to change the kind of food the military gets. They're going to change the kind of food that our children get. We're releasing those in December. The Presidential Council for Physical Fitness is going to get more Americans into, particularly our children, into physical activity so that we can attack the root causes of this.
Good.
But in the meantime, there's nothing more important than we can do than lower this price. As I said, it is the #1 cost of all drugs. This is the biggest drug in our country. That's why this is the most important of all the MFN announcements we've made. This is going to have the biggest impact on the American people. All Americans, even those who are not on Medicaid and Medicare, are going to be able to get the same price for their drugs, for their GLP drugs. This happened because of the vision of David Ricks, of Mike Dusar, and the other people, and the people on our team who figured out a way to align the interests of the shareholders of their company with the health of the American public. And it is a momentous accomplishment. It took months and months of negotiations. And I had a wonderful conversation with Mike Dusar about his experience, and he thanked me for the caliber of people who are on our side of the negotiating team. Chris Klump, who walked away from $1 billion business in order to join this administration, Emma Hernandez, David Brooks, and of course, Dr. Oz and Marty McCary, who made this happen. They saw that this could be a win-win situation, that this was not a zero-sum game. The Biden administration tried to solve this problem unsuccessfully, I might add, by throwing $40 billion at it. They were able to achieve an agreement that will actually create savings for the American public. So we're making all of this available at a savings, and that's because the price of diabetes prescriptions is also going to drop. And the savings that we get from that are now going to make it available to people who do not have diabetes. People who have a BMI of 27 and above, or pre-diabetic, or have heart disease risks, they will be able to get it, but everybody will be able to get this drug, and it's going to change. We will lose, the American public, because of this agreement, will lose 125 million pounds by this time next year. It is going to have dramatic effects on human health in this country.
We're getting skinny, people. I'm for that.
His leadership,
And this is a real benefit to this Trump administration to be able to work with. I know that Eli Lilly was very close with Trump because they helped fund his first inauguration. Everyone's going after pharmaceuticals. I'm like, Trump, he's funded by a lot of pharmaceuticals. So this is a good deal that they're doing. Only the Trump administration could do it. I agree to get these medicines out to people that are pre-diabetic, especially.
A lot smarter than I am.
He doesn't really mean that he's being modest, I promise you. But it's a beautiful thing to say, Bobby. It's a beautiful thing.
But I want to thank you, Mr. President, because you've made me a success here by allowing me to attract these extraordinary people. And I want to again thank David Ricks, who we've been in this Oval Office again and again. You keep saying he's the smartest guy in industry, that he could talk a dog off a meat truck. But it came to the table, and Mike Newstar told me, he said,
Convinced people for 20 years that it was okay for Europe to pay $10 and for America to pay $140. That's why they make 45, 50 million a year. He did. Finally, I said, I've had it, right?
So we pay less. The international money goes up. Actually, more people outside of America will be paying for these drugs instead of us paying these exorbitant prices.
Dusar told me what a pleasure it was to negotiate with people who were smart, who had common sense, who were able to put themselves in his position and hammer out this deal that is good for everybody. And it's great for the American public. I want to close again by just saying that this is a tool in the toolkit. It is not a silver bullet. It is an arrow in our quiver. It will allow a lot of people who are locked into high-risk obesity to finally lose weight, to reset, and then start doing the kind of things that will address the root causes of obesity. So I want to thank these extraordinary CEOs.
And I approve of this drug for emergency cases. You know, I'd rather have someone on Ozempic than on, if you can avoid them from taking insulin for life, for instance. play it again.
We just haven't been able to get over the edge, and that this President Trump's order, his executive order, was a catalyst to do something that we always knew needed to be done. So again, thank you for your vision, for your commitment, and thank you to all the CEOs and all of my team for making this historic agreement happen.
Bobby, you haven't changed your view on Tylenol for women that are pregnant?
No, as I said,
There were some false reports out about Tylenol that Bobby changes. I don't think he's changing.
I'm not going to change until the science changes, and the science does not look like it's changing. It's getting stronger and stronger. Every day, what we recommend is that mothers, pregnant mothers, talk to their physicians, that the mothers of small kids talk to their physicians, and we've advised the physicians to reduce the thresholds and to reduce the amount of Tylenol that they give to children as much as possible, and only use it when it's absolutely critical.
Thank you.
Dr. Oz.
So we're going to go through some of the deal points, but it does make itself clear that the real stake here is the forgotten man. President Trump, I believe you won the election because you remember the forgotten man. You speak to them, they hear you, they listen to you, and he connects well because he actually does things that materially change their lives. Secretary Kennedy spoke passionately, as he always does, about the problems with obesity. And just to put some very fine point numbers on this, obesity itself is responsible for half of all chronic disease and definitely generates more than a quarter of all the money we spend out of CMS, the $1.75 trillion that we spend annually. We need to address this tempest of dramatically increasing prices for health care, and you're not going to do it just by throwing money at the problem. You have to actually literally deal with the causes of the increase in price, and pharmaceutical prices are a part of that. They've been a part of it for a long time, but this president insisted that we address it. In fact, the first time I heard this directly from you, sir, was in January at Mar-a-Lago, where he took Secretary Kennedy, myself, Mr. Ricks, who you'll hear from in a second, to dinner, and demanded explanations for most favored nation pricing and what's wrong with it. And there was not a good reason against it. Now, MAHA is critical. America will have to get fit in order to right-size the healthcare system, and MAHA has the answers. It has obesity management through diet and exercise and sleep and dealing with issues related to that. And I want to say it as clear as I can. Obesity is not an absence of GLP-1 drugs. We're all clear on that. But as Secretary Kennedy said, it is an arrow in our quiver that we must use and should use. The MAHA movement means making it easier for the right things to happen, easier for you to be healthy. If you're sitting at home and watching, that's what MAHA means to me. Reducing costs of the #1 most expensive medicine category in our country for Americans does just that. It is as MAHA as it gets. Today's the fourth MFN. President Trump highlighted the first three. Leading U.S. company, leading European company. We've dropped in fertility drugs, who will make lots of Trump babies, I'm hoping, by the midterms. But it's really about fairness. Fundamentally, it's fairness in pricing to Americans who have been getting ripped off, paying 3 times more than their European counterparts for the exact same product made in the same factory, in the same bottle, in the same packaging. We shouldn't be paying 3 times more, and we are no longer doing that. Fairness to the forgotten man also means dealing with the reality that they can afford a life-saving, life-changing drug that 10% or more of affluent Americans take, but folks without means can't manage it. Secretary Kennedy mentioned New York City. It actually, the #1 zip code is the Upper East Side, which is where you have property. And folks who know ritzy areas buy important real estate there because those real estate properties are worth a lot there. That should not be the #1 zip code in America for purchasing GLP-1 drugs. It speaks to the fact that we have an innately unfair system that penalizes folks who can use these medications the most, folks in the Rust Belt. Now, what are you supposed to do if the right thing to do for your health is right there, but you can't afford to get it? Folks need to be able to utilize these life-saving medications, and being fair about its distribution is essential. And we are democratizing access to these medications and dealing with a moral imperative to make sure that all Americans have access to avoiding all the obesity-related complications by making sure they can afford, if they do things right, not just MAHA appropriate interventions, but also medications like this. In fact, we think these deals, and this part's very important, we believe these deals within 2 years, by the time the ink dries on these contracts that were signed earlier today, within 2 years, based on our health improvements, we will be budget neutral. These drugs will not cost us money. The American taxpayers will be getting their money back. That's how important it is for us to reduce the costs of healthcare in this country, especially when it's due to preventable problems like obesity. In addition, we have an update, Secretary Kennedy. We thought it was 125 million pounds. Mr. President, our estimate, based on the company numbers as well, is Americans will lose 135 billion pounds by the midterms. But I don't measure it in pounds. I measure it in saved lives. People can sleep again because they can breathe as when they go to bed. Folks whose knees don't hurt. People who don't have heart attacks, renal failure, dementia, all the things we know are associated with obesity and much more. This wouldn't have happened if we didn't have the right tools and had the ability with a team that has been spoken of early. So I want to call out Abe Sutton. He's in the back right there. He leads the CMS Innovation Center. It made the deal possible. And they are announcing today a new model, a brand new model aimed at getting to the vulnerable populations amongst us these medications. The forgotten man will be able to afford these drugs now. Governors will be thanking President Trump. They should be calling directly, sir, because they're going to be able to afford Medicaid next year in ways unimaginable, and they will stop crowding out education and other civil services. We cannot be a wealthy nation without being a healthy nation. That's why today's MFN deal is a historic step forward for all of America, and this is something that I don't think is partisan. There is no way you can argue against what just happened. These numbers to my side here, Texas Administrator McCary, who's been instrumental in this process as well, $1,350 baseline. Chris Klump will go through the numbers, but just focus on that 245, which is what he's going to point you to. And Chris Klump has been an unbelievable leader, an innovator. You've heard his name before. He's spoken here before, but he is continuing to change the face of CMS.
So that's that fat shot now looks like it costs about 1/5 under Trump than it would have cost. So now we just have to get the word out to the rest of the poor people in America that need this help.
In little bits. Howard's been there. It's no longer happening. You've got sharp folks. We're open for business. It's a generational opportunity to serve, and people are showing up. God bless you. Let me introduce now Chris Klump, who is just makes my life easier every day. I'm so proud of him.
All great deals are rooted in principles. We've talked about this before, and today we're announcing another truly great deal. I love this deal, and it's rooted in the principle of potential. This is about unlocking the full potential of every American, the grandmother, the grandfather, the father, the son, by unlocking access to affordable life-saving medications that make a meaningful difference in their lives when they need them most. That's what today delivers. It's a deal built on principle for people, for the American people, and backed by policy that works. So the most important step to getting healthy is believing that your life has value, that God meant for each of us to have purpose and joy and to live fully. And to do that, we must be good stewards of our body. And the president has been fighting to provide another tool to do just this and enable this. And it's my pleasure to outline the contours of the deal today. So first and foremost, customary with the three prior announcements, all of the customary most favored nation terms that you've grown familiar with apply to these two deals. So this is actually deals 4 and 5. Full Medicaid portfolios today at most favored nation prices. Shared savings from existing drug prices in Europe deployed back to the United States. All primary care drugs at U.S. net prices or most favored nation prices available on Trump RX before the end of the year. And most importantly, all future drug launches across commercial, Medicaid, Medicare, and the cash markets at most favored nation prices going forward. Now, GLP-1s. So first, under this agreement, starting doses of oral GLP-1s will cost just $149 a month for everyone. That's roughly 1/8 the cost of the list price today. For Medicare, manufacturers are voluntarily reducing their prices for GLP-1s currently used for diabetes and other covered indications to $245 per month across all doses. The savings generated from this change in prices will be used to provide new coverage to obesity and those who struggle with obesity and also have high metabolic or cardiovascular risk. Again, all for the same $245 a month. That means Americans struggling with diabetes and obesity with heart disease or other chronic conditions can access these life-changing drugs more affordably.
My dad had diabetes. This would have affected him, would have helped him.
A month for a copay. This is a massive reduction from what happens today. For Medicaid,
Under
Novo and
400
Lilly
a
have
month.
agreed to extend the same new low government pricing to all 50 state Medicaid programs should they opt in. And we encourage them to opt in. And these will be available not just for diabetes and current covered indications, but also for obesity again. And in case you're getting tired of me saying it, at the same price of $245 a month.
$245 a month.
Doses. On Trump RX, the average price of injectables and orals will start at $350 on average. That's compared to roughly $500 today. And that will trend down to, you guessed it, the same $245 a month over the next 24 months. That is 1/5 of the list price. It is 1/2 of the best price in the United States today. We're hoping, Mr. President, that your friend who has to travel to England to afford these drugs will no longer need to do so and can come and do it in the United States. I'll also just mention that the $149 is $1 less than what you asked us to achieve. Make sure that's clear. So I want to highlight two other really important points that make me love this deal so very much. First, this isn't about spending more, it's about spending smarter. The savings from the diabetes drug price reductions are being used in a cost-neutral way to fund the new indications for taxpayers. That's amazing, and that happens inside of that same 24-month period. It's cost-neutral. We're spending the money more wisely. But second, this isn't just about lower drug prices for Americans, though it does do that, but together with physical activity, with healthy eating and diet, and where appropriate, the use of breakthrough GLP-1s,
Thank you,
the real
Katrina.
return on investment is healthier Americans, lower chronic disease, lower costs, we estimate by tens of billions of dollars a year, and most importantly, higher productivity. Today is about freeing Americans from the weight, literally and figuratively, that holds us back. It's about unlocking the potential of every citizen to live fully, to contribute fully, and to
Live fully. I like, you guys notice that? Literally and figuratively. Did you notice the thumbnail? This is a huge announcement. Huge. And we're talking about the weight drug that makes you less huge.
find joy in their health. We cannot reach our full potential as a nation if we do not reach our full potential as individuals. And we cannot
True.
reach our full potential as individuals if we are not healthy. Thanks to Nova and Lilly for showing up so constructively over the last several months to make this possible. In particular, thanks to you, Mr. President, for again demonstrating that you fight for every American, this time for potential. It's now my sincere pleasure to first introduce Dave Ricks from Lilly and then Mike Dustow from
This is from Lilly, from Eli Lilly eventually.
My company, Eli Lilly, has been investing in America. We've been advancing science and creating high-value jobs. But today, we... Oh, are you okay? Gordon, you okay?
Uh-oh. We're losing him. Man down. Man down.
Yeah.
This is live, guys. You can take a break. Get out. Get out, everybody. Get out. I wonder if he took Ozempic. And they cut the feed. Well,
And that is an unfortunate situation to have.
that was an exciting thing. You know, I'm 6'8". Yeah, you guys are like, oh man. Oh man, I hope he's okay. Yeah. He died. Dr. Smith, that's not nice. You know, I'm 6'8", and if I stand up too quick, down I go. Stroke. Yeah, you guys are killing me. That is yeah, not a good look. Not a good look. So a man just, they turned and looked at him and said, "Are you okay?" And the guy was just, he was smiling though as he went down. Yeah, we'll pray for that guy. Pray for that guy. You know, people pass out. And even if he died, what a way to go. That's how I want to go. On camera, standing in front of you, and I just get this glazed over look, and then with a big smile on my face, just you know, when people are in a room like that and you have to stand up for a long time, you can black out. And I'll give you guys an update on that guy if it comes back. And now they're just running these.
Conservative news outlet. And RSBN.
Okay. This show, that was not an ending I expected. What do you guys think? We can hang together if you guys want. You guys are too fun to hang with. I don't like leaving you. You're my favorite. I keep telling you guys this. I've had a lot. I am, just so you know, I'm a mass media artist, and telling you the news is my mass media art form. I want it to be an art form. You guys talk about how we do it different here. We really do it different here. And it's because of how first of all, I really understand the audience, a mass media audience of about 50,000 people. I'm trying to always jive with you guys. Yes, I'll be doing more vids today. 2 more videos. This is one of them. And again, I thought this wasn't going to be a very good one until the guy passed out at the end. That is a very dramatic ending. But then I got 2 more videos to do today. So you guys make me very happy as a mass media artist. I'm going to bring you guys the news the best I can, and that's my job. But you guys make it fun. It's worth working for you. It is fun to work for you. I've got a ton of news to bring you. So thank you guys for watching. Give it a thumbs up. We're going to pray for that guy together. Pray that the Lord heal him, give him courage. And to pass out on live TV, that's news. Live, we don't know what the future is going to bring us. That could be me on the ground in about 5 minutes. That could be you. So pray up, everybody. Pray up. Thumbs up. Love you all. Be careful. Get your exercise in. And now, if you're obese, look, America, 50% of us are obese. So at least half of my audience is obese. So to all my obese people out there, you're going to get some relief on these drugs. They're going to be within 2 years, they'll be 1/5 the cost. They're going to come down immediately in half, the lowest priced in half, thanks to Trump and his relationship with these pharmaceuticals. So that's good news for all of you. We'll be getting right back together again today. I try and post these videos. This is going to take the place of the noon video. I'll get right on one, right around 3, and another one right around 6 o'clock. Hug your loved ones. Say your prayers. Thank you guys for watching. You guys make me one happy patriot. Hardcore giant episode coming right up. I'm Doug in exile. Thanks for joining me live.